Imagine a world full of magic, danger, and adventure. A young hero in a green tunic sets out on a great journey. He fights monsters, explores ancient temples, and solves mysterious puzzles. His goal? To save a princess and defeat an evil king. This is The Legend of Zelda, one of the most famous video game series in the world. The Legend of Zelda is an action-adventure game created by Nintendo. The first game was released in 1986, and since then, many new games have been made. In each game, players take the role of Link, a brave hero who must save the land of Hyrule. The series is famous for its exciting battles, magical stories, and open-world exploration. In The Legend of Zelda, players do not just follow a simple path. Instead, they can explore forests, climb mountains, swim in lakes, and discover hidden secrets. Along the way, they find powerful weapons, meet strange creatures, and solve tricky puzzles. Every game is full of surprises. There are many reasons why The Legend of Zelda is loved by millions of people. First, every game has an exciting story. It is not just about fighting monsters, it is about bravery, friendship, and destiny. Players feel like they are part of a great adventure. Second, the game world is huge and beautiful. From dark dungeons to bright green fields, from deep oceans to high mountains, every Zelda game is full of wonderful places to explore. Third, the puzzles in the game make players think. Some doors will not open unless you find a hidden switch. Some enemies can only be defeated with a special weapon. The game makes players feel smart and creative. Finally, the music in The Legend of Zelda is unforgettable. The moment players hear the soft melody of Zelda's lullaby or the heroic tune of The Legend of Zelda theme, they know they are in for an amazing journey. Every great story has great characters. In The Legend of Zelda, 3 characters are the most important. Link, the main hero. He is a young warrior with a kind heart and a strong will. He wears a green tunic and a pointed hat. He is brave, silent, and always ready to help others. His most famous weapon is the Master Sword, a magical sword that can defeat evil. Princess Zelda, the Princess of Hyrule. She is not just a damsel in distress. She is smart, powerful, and sometimes even fights alongside Link. In some games, she has magical powers and can transform into a mysterious warrior named Sheik. Ganon, or Ganondorf, the main villain. He is a dark king who wants to control Hyrule. He is very powerful and dangerous. Sometimes he appears as a giant monster called Ganon, and other times he is a man named Ganondorf. He is always searching for the Triforce, a magical object that can give him unlimited power. Together, these 3 characters create the heart of the story. Link must stop Ganon and save Zelda, but every game is different, with new challenges, new friends, and new secrets to discover. Are you ready to begin the journey? Let's dive into the history of The Legend of Zelda. A long time ago, in the kingdom of Hyrule, darkness spread across the land. A powerful and evil king, Ganon, wanted to take control of everything. To do this, he needed the Triforce of Wisdom, a magical object that could give him great power. But Princess Zelda, the wise and brave ruler of Hyrule, knew Ganon's plan. To stop him, she broke the Triforce into 8 pieces and hid them across the land. Before Ganon could capture her, Zelda sent her loyal servant, Impa, to find a hero who could help. But Ganon's monsters chased Impa through the forests and fields. Just when she was about to be caught, a young boy appeared. He had no armor, no great sword, only a kind heart and a brave spirit. His name was Link. The first game. The Legend of Zelda, 1986. In 1986, Nintendo released The Legend of Zelda, the very first game in the series. At that time, video games were simple. Most games only had one path to follow, but The Legend of Zelda was different. Players could explore Hyrule in many different ways, discovering hidden secrets and solving puzzles. It was one of the first open-world adventure games. The game's story was also exciting. Players controlled Link, a young boy who had to save Princess Zelda from the evil King Ganon. To do this, Link needed to find the 8 missing pieces of the Triforce of Wisdom. Only then could he enter Ganon's dark castle and defeat him. Link's journey was not easy. Hyrule was full of dangerous monsters, deep forests, hot deserts, and dark caves. To find the pieces of the Triforce, Link had to enter dungeons, mysterious underground mazes filled with traps, puzzles, and powerful enemies. Each dungeon was different. Some had moving walls, some had hidden doors, and some had tricky puzzles that tested the player's mind. Link needed to collect special items to help him: bombs to break walls, a boomerang to stun enemies, and a magic key to open locked doors. The most dangerous part of every dungeon was the boss fight. Each boss was a giant, powerful monster. Some were dragons, some were giant spiders, and some could even disappear. Link had to find their weaknesses and use the right weapons to defeat them. Finally, after collecting all 8 pieces of the Triforce, Link entered Ganon's castle. The battle was long and difficult. Ganon was strong, but Link had something more powerful: courage. After an epic fight, Link defeated Ganon and rescued Princess Zelda. Hyrule was safe once again. But this was only the beginning of the legend. Many more adventures were waiting for Link in the future. As the legend of Hyrule continued, new adventures awaited Link. After the success of the first game, players wanted a bigger world, a deeper story, and new challenges. Nintendo answered their wishes with The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past in 1991, and Ocarina of Time in 1998. These 2 games introduced many ideas that became essential to the series, making The Legend of Zelda even more magical and unforgettable. A Link to the Past, 1991. A new world and new powers. On a dark and stormy night, a young boy named Link was awakened by a voice in his dreams. It was Princess Zelda calling for help. She was locked inside the castle by an evil sorcerer named Aghanim, who was using dark magic to control Hyrule. Without hesitation, Link rushed to save her, only to discover that this was just the beginning of a much greater adventure. Unlike the first game, A Link to the Past introduced 2 separate worlds: the Light World, where Hyrule remained beautiful and peaceful, and the Dark World, a twisted, cursed version filled with monsters and danger. To stop Aghanim and his master, the Dark King Ganon, Link had to travel between these worlds using a magical mirror. This new ability added exciting puzzles to the game. A blocked path in one world could sometimes be opened by switching to the other. But Link could not fight Ganon with just any weapon. Deep in the Lost Woods, hidden within an ancient pedestal, rested the Master Sword, a legendary blade that only a true hero could wield. With the Master Sword in hand, Link ventured through dangerous dungeons, defeated powerful enemies, and gathered the power needed to challenge Ganon. In an epic final battle, Link struck down the Dark King and restored peace to Hyrule. The journey had been long and difficult, but the young hero had proven himself once again. Ocarina of Time, 1998. A hero across time. 7 years after A Link to the Past, Nintendo brought the world of Zelda into a new era. Ocarina of Time was the first game in the series to use 3D graphics, allowing players to experience Hyrule in a completely new way. For many, it felt as if they had stepped into a real living world. The game's story was also more complex, weaving together themes of destiny, friendship, and the passage of time. The adventure began in a small village called Kokiri Forest, where a young boy named Link lived among the Kokiri, a group of children who never grew up. But Link was different. One day, the great Deku Tree, the guardian of the forest, called Link to him and revealed a terrible truth. Hyrule was in danger. A powerful man named Ganondorf was searching for the Triforce, an ancient relic that could grant unlimited power. Link was chosen to stop him. Leaving the forest for the first time, Link traveled across Hyrule, meeting new allies and collecting magical items. In Hyrule Castle, he found Princess Zelda, who had also foreseen Ganondorf's evil plan. Together, they searched for a way to stop him, but before they could act, Ganondorf attacked. Zelda was forced to flee, and Link was left with only one choice. He had to find the legendary Master Sword. When Link finally pulled the Master Sword from its pedestal, something unexpected happened. Instead of becoming stronger, he was sealed away for 7 years. He had been too young to fight Ganondorf, so the Master Sword had put him into a deep sleep until he was ready. When he awoke, Hyrule had changed. The castle was now a dark fortress, monsters roamed the land, and Ganondorf ruled over everything. As an adult, Link traveled across Hyrule, awakening 6 sages who held the power to stop Ganondorf. He played magical songs on the Ocarina of Time, solving puzzles and unlocking hidden paths. With each step, he grew stronger, preparing for the final battle. In the end, Link faced Ganondorf in his castle, battling through waves of enemies before reaching the throne room. The fight was fierce, but with Zelda's help, Link defeated Ganondorf. Just when it seemed like the battle was over, Ganondorf transformed into Ganon, a giant monstrous beast. In one final clash, Link struck him down with the Master Sword, sealing him away forever. But Link's journey was not yet complete. Because of the magic of time travel, he was sent back to his childhood before any of these events had happened. No one remembered his great adventure, only he knew the truth. And yet, even in the quiet of his return, he remained a hero. Both A Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time shaped the future of the Legend of Zelda series. A Link to the Past introduced the idea of traveling between worlds, while Ocarina of Time brought time travel, deep storytelling, and a new level of adventure. Players were no longer just controlling a character in a game. They were stepping into Link's boots, living his journey as if it were their own. Even today, Ocarina of Time is remembered as one of the greatest video games ever made. Its world was vast, its puzzles were clever, and its story was unforgettable. It captured the magic of adventure in a way no game had before. For many, it was not just a game, it was an experience. With these 2 games, The Legend of Zelda truly became a legend. But the adventure was far from over. New heroes, new lands, and new dangers were waiting in the future. And no matter how many years passed, one thing remained true. Whenever Hyrule was in danger, a hero would rise. As time passed, the world of The Legend of Zelda continued to grow, taking players on new adventures with fresh ideas and exciting challenges. The early Zelda games had already introduced time travel and parallel worlds, but now the series was ready to explore something even greater, the vast ocean and the mysterious Twilight realm. With The Wind Waker in 2002 and Twilight Princess in 2006, players experienced 2 very different versions of Hyrule. One was bright and colourful, filled with endless waves and islands to explore. The other was dark and mysterious, where shadows hid dangerous secrets. But no matter the setting, one thing remained the same. Link's courage would always shine through. The Wind Waker, 2002. A sea adventure with a cartoon style. When The Wind Waker was first revealed, many fans were surprised. The game had a very different look from Ocarina of Time. Instead of realistic graphics, it used a bright cartoon-like style, making the characters and the world feel like a beautiful painting come to life. Some players were unsure about this change, but once they set sail on the Great Sea, they quickly fell in love with the adventure. This story took place in a world covered by a vast ocean. Long ago, a great flood had swallowed Hyrule, leaving only a few islands above the water. Link, now a young boy living on one of these islands, was celebrating his birthday when his peaceful life was suddenly destroyed. A giant bird appeared and kidnapped his sister, carrying her away to a distant fortress. Determined to save her, Link set off on a journey across the sea. Instead of traveling on foot or horseback, Link sailed a small boat named the King of Red Lions. Guided by the wind, he explored mysterious islands, uncovered ancient secrets, and faced dangerous enemies. But his quest was bigger than just saving his sister. As he traveled, he discovered that Ganon had returned, hiding beneath the waves and searching for the lost kingdom of Hyrule. To stop Ganon, Link had to find the Master Sword once again. But this time, he also needed the power of the Triforce of Courage, a legendary artifact that had been scattered across the ocean. Piece by piece, he gathered its fragments, restoring his true strength as a hero. In the final battle, he and Princess Zelda fought together, striking down Ganon and sealing him beneath the sea forever. At the end of the journey, Hyrule remained lost beneath the ocean, but a new future awaited Link and Zelda. Together, they set sail once more, searching for a new land where their own legend could begin. The Wind Waker had taken players on an unforgettable adventure, proving that even in a world covered by water, the spirit of Hyrule would never sink. Twilight Princess, 2006. A darker story and a wolf's curse. After the bright and colourful world of the Wind Waker, Nintendo took the series in a very different direction. Twilight Princess was darker, more realistic, and filled with mystery. It told a story of shadows, curses, and a battle between light and darkness. Many fans saw it as a return to the more serious tone of Ocarina of Time, and it quickly became one of the most beloved games in the series. This time, Link was not a young boy living by the sea, but a rancher in a peaceful village. He had no idea that he was destined to save Hyrule, until the twilight came. A dark force spread across the land, covering it in eerie shadows. Strange creatures appeared, and before Link could understand what was happening, he was transformed into a wolf. Trapped in this new form, Link found himself in the mysterious Twilight Realm, a place between light and darkness. There he met Midna, a strange and mischievous creature who became his guide. At first she seemed uninterested in saving Hyrule. She only cared about her own lost kingdom. But as they travelled together, Midna and Link formed a strong bond, and she slowly revealed the truth. The Twilight Realm had once been a peaceful place, ruled by the Twili, a race of shadowy beings. But a powerful sorcerer named Zant had taken control, plunging the land into darkness. Worse still, Zant was working for Ganon, who had once again returned to take over Hyrule. To stop them, Link needed to restore the light spirits, break his wolf curse, and find the Master Sword. But even after regaining his human form, Link's battle was far from over. He had to venture into the Twilight Realm itself, fighting through dark palaces and uncovering the truth behind Midna's past. In the final battle, Link and Midna faced Zant and defeated him, but Ganon still remained. In a dramatic final showdown, Link fought Ganon in different forms: a giant beast, a dark sorcerer, and finally, a deadly swordsman. With one last strike of the Master Sword, Link put an end to Ganon's reign of terror. As the adventure ended, Midna prepared to return to the Twilight Realm. She had once seen humans as weak and unworthy, but after fighting alongside Link, she realized she had been wrong. With tears in her eyes, she shattered the only connection between the two worlds, making sure that no more evil could pass between them. As she disappeared, she left behind only a single goodbye, one final smile before fading into the twilight. Though the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess told very different stories, they both captured the heart of the legend of Zelda. One was light-hearted, full of adventure and wonder, while the other was dark and mysterious, filled with destiny and sacrifice. Yet both showed the same truth. Whenever Hyrule was in danger, a hero would rise to face the challenge. With each new game, the legend continued to grow, reaching new places and touching new hearts. But Hyrule's greatest adventure was still ahead. Beyond the seas and the twilight, a wild and untamed world was waiting. And soon, Link would step into the wildest journey of all. For over 30 years, The Legend of Zelda had taken players on incredible journeys, through time, across oceans, and even into the Twilight realm. But in 2017, the series changed forever. The Legend of Zelda. Breath of the Wild introduced a new kind of adventure, one that gave players the freedom to explore Hyrule like never before. It was no longer just a game about following a path and completing dungeons in order. Instead, it was an open world where players could go anywhere, do anything, and uncover secrets at their own pace. It was the beginning of a new era for The Legend of Zelda. From the very first moment, Breath of the Wild felt different. Instead of starting in a small village or a castle, Link awoke alone in a strange, ancient place. He had no sword, no shield, and no memory of what had happened before. A mysterious voice guided him forward, leading him outside to the edge of a cliff. And there, stretching out before him, was Hyrule, a vast and breathtaking land waiting to be explored. Unlike past Zelda games, which guided players step by step, Breath of the Wild gave them complete freedom. There were no invisible walls, no strict paths to follow. If you saw a mountain in the distance, you could climb it. If you found a river, you could swim across or build a raft. If you wanted to fight an enemy, you could rush in with a sword, shoot arrows from far away, or use clever tricks to defeat them without getting hurt. Every challenge had many solutions, and every player's journey was unique. As Link explored this new world, he slowly uncovered the truth. 100 years ago, Hyrule had been destroyed. The great kingdom that once stood tall was now in ruins, overgrown with nature and filled with wild creatures. The cause of this disaster was Calamity Ganon, an ancient evil that had returned with terrifying power. Link had fought against Ganon before, alongside Princess Zelda and the kingdom's strongest warriors, the champions, but they had failed. The champions had fallen, Zelda had been forced to face Ganon alone, and Link himself had been mortally wounded. To save him, Zelda placed him in the Shrine of Resurrection, where he slept for a century. Now he had awakened, but his memories were gone, and his world was no longer the same. Zelda was still alive, but she was trapped inside Hyrule Castle, using the last of her power to keep Ganon from escaping. If Link didn't stop him soon, the world would be lost forever. One of the most amazing things about Breath of the Wild was that players could choose how to play the game. In past Zelda games, Link had to collect special items and defeat bosses in a specific order. But in Breath of the Wild, the choice was up to the player. If they wanted, they could follow the main story, traveling across Hyrule to free the spirits of the four champions, who had been trapped inside giant mechanical beasts called divine beasts. By doing this, Link could weaken Ganon and make the final battle easier. But if they were feeling brave, they could go straight to Hyrule Castle at any time and try to defeat Ganon right away. It was a huge challenge, but some players managed to do it with nothing but a stick and a few tricks. There were also hundreds of shrines, small puzzle-filled temples, that rewarded players with special orbs to increase Link's strength. Instead of the usual long dungeons, these shrines let players solve puzzles in many creative ways. Some required clever thinking, while others tested their fighting skills. And then there was the Master Sword, hidden deep within the Lost Woods. Unlike in past games, Link could not simply pick it up. He had to prove his strength by increasing his health, showing that he was truly ready to wield the legendary blade. Breath of the Wild was not just another Zelda game. It was a revolution. It changed everything players expected from an open-world adventure, allowing them to explore in ways they never had before. There were no limits, no strict paths to follow. Only the wild beauty of Hyrule, waiting to be discovered. The game was filled with small details that made the world feel alive. Animals roamed the fields, birds flew overhead, and the weather changed suddenly, affecting gameplay. If it rained, cliffs became too slippery to climb. If lightning struck, metal weapons could attract it. If Link walked through the snow without warm clothes, he would start to freeze. Every part of the game felt real and immersive. It was also a game that rewarded curiosity. Players who took their time to explore found hidden caves, powerful weapons, and even funny surprises. A group of mischievous creatures called Koroks hid all over the world, offering small rewards to those who found them. Some players spent hundreds of hours just wandering through Hyrule, discovering new secrets long after they had finished the main story. And at the heart of it all was Zelda. In this version of the story, she was not just a princess waiting to be rescued. She was a scientist, a researcher, and a determined young woman struggling with the burden of her royal duty. Through memories that Link recovered, players saw her journey, her doubts, her fears, and her ultimate sacrifice to protect Hyrule. When Link finally faced Ganon and struck him down with the Master Sword, it was not just the end of a battle, it was the rebirth of Hyrule. The kingdom was free once again, and Zelda, no longer trapped by fate, was ready to rebuild. With Breath of the Wild, the legend of Zelda entered a new age. It was no longer just a story about dungeons and castles. It was about adventure, discovery, and the thrill of the unknown. Players around the world fell in love with its freedom, beauty, and deep storytelling. It became one of the best-selling and most beloved games of all time. And it was just the beginning. Because somewhere, beyond the mountains and ruins of Hyrule, a new legend was waiting to be told. For decades, the legend of Zelda has captured the hearts of players around the world. It is more than just a game. It is a journey filled with adventure, discovery, and magic. From the very first game in 1986 to Breath of the Wild, in 2017, every chapter of the series has brought something new, creating unforgettable experiences for generations of players. But the story of Zelda is far from over. In 2023, Nintendo released The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild. It continued Link's story, taking players back to the vast world of Hyrule, but with even greater mysteries to uncover. This time, Link's journey was not just on the ground. The skies above Hyrule opened up, revealing floating islands and ancient ruins in the clouds. He also gained new abilities, such as fusing weapons together and reversing the flow of time for objects. The world felt more alive than ever, with deeper exploration, new challenges, and an even grander story. But at the heart of it all, the main theme of The Legend of Zelda remained the same: a hero's journey, a kingdom in danger, and the courage to fight against darkness. What makes The Legend of Zelda so special? Why do players keep coming back year after year for new adventures? One reason is the sense of wonder. Every game in the series invites players into a world full of secrets. Whether it is an underground dungeon, a hidden cave, or a mysterious village, there is always something waiting to be discovered. Another reason is freedom. Unlike many other games, Zelda does not tell players exactly what to do. Instead, it encourages them to explore, experiment, and solve problems in their own way. No two players experience the game in the same way, making every journey unique. And finally, there is the connection to the characters. Players do not just control Link, they become him. They feel his struggles, his victories, and his responsibility to protect Hyrule. And alongside him, Zelda is more than just a princess. She is a scholar, a warrior, and a symbol of hope. From the moment Link picks up his sword for the first time to the final battle against Ganon, The Legend of Zelda is a celebration of adventure. It reminds us that the world is full of possibilities, and that courage can lead us to incredible places. Whether sailing the seas, traveling through time, or gliding through the skies, Zelda games always give players something magical. The thrill of discovery, the excitement of exploration, and the feeling of being part of something legendary. And as long as there are heroes willing to embark on a new quest, The Legend of Zelda will continue to shine, inspiring players for generations to come.